Hello everyone, this is Angelina, and I'd like to warmly welcome and thank you for joining us here today for the Smada World webinar. We're looking forward to passing on to you some very interesting information. Please hold your questions until the Q&A time. Please pay close attention to the questions that have been asked and the answers that are given so that you can avoid duplicating the questions that somebody else has already asked. Noel will be quite adamant about what information he will provide details on and what he won't. So again, please pay attention to that. So now, without any further delay, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our speaker for today, Mr. Noel Adams, the founder of Next Level Africa and our CEO and leader of the Smada team. Welcome, Noel.
Firstly, welcome everybody, and we've certainly had an eventful couple of weeks going on there, so I'll try to cover things out there. Just before this webinar, I had over an hour telephone conversation with our development team in South Africa. They've been working diligently on bringing things together, so there's things I just can't say because there's contracts being signed at the moment. There's just a lot of things going on, but some of the things I'll be able to tell you you should be a little bit pleased about. Just to start with UPB as one of our alliance partners out there, I'll be in talks with the UPB management possibly later today, and we'll be discussing a possible starting time with UPB out there. So that's something that they're almost ready. They just had to do some final work. You'll notice that the NLA coin has gone in there now, and so hopefully we can get that up and running. Just another area where we'll be using the NLA coin. So once again, we're hoping to get something resolved with that very, very shortly, and from their end, they're just about right to go. So we just have to give the green light, and we'll be up and running. Also, NLA, look, we are in the process now of getting all the coin balances. I've had to do what they call the drawdown on the coins, because when you get the bank involved with it, you've got to go through a couple of departments to get it. I've requested line 8 and 9 because we've got a lot of new members that have been taking over accounts, and we've got a lot of accounts that we need to load in there, so they're getting ready for that. So hopefully we've got that under control. Just that all the meetings have been going on at the moment are to do with lots and lots of other things, particularly to do with the bank. So I just want to inform you that we are working on all fronts to try and get everything up to where we want it to be and absolutely running. So getting the projects out there, because there's interest in from the banks to want to be financing some of the projects, and wanting to do a press release to direct people to our projects. So there's a lot of things that the bank want fixed up. So that's why we're getting our guys to do as much as they can. I'll move on to the exchange. I used to say exchanges, but now it's just exchange. As you well know, that CEX is now the only place you can trade with any of the coins. Global exchange has ceased. And what some of the things have been happening out there, the bank have changed the company that were doing the KYCs, and it's now been changed to a different company because there was issues with it on who was doing it. So they've changed that now to another. It's a banking group that actually doing the KYC on it. So we'll announce that very shortly of who it is. But anyone that's been having trouble with KYC in the exchange. That should be something that's rectified. I guess it's not a secret as well of the amount of movement on coins that have been placed into the exchange, and some of the newer coins going on there as well. As you probably well know, there's 3 main players we've got going in there now. So there's a lot of movement of that. It's something like 450 million Chingaling that have been moved into the exchange. Now, I only got the clearance to be able to tell you this probably within the last hour. So I always knew the figure of what was going to happen, and because it's a little bit difficult to explain it briefly, but as you well know, that the investors have been using the Chingaling coin for stored value for the humanitarian projects, and the bank manage that and invest it and get tax relief on it. So, and they've been trading outside of the exchange. So the bank have told the investors that they've now got to trade inside the exchange. So the trading will happen inside of CEX. I can't answer that out there, but we might just wake up one morning and it's all, the fireworks have started there, if you like. I'd like to see that. So they're getting all their ducks in a line. But what it is, that the bank will be the people purchasing the coins. When I say purchasing, it's not the bank's money, it's the investors that have put money in there, which has been converted to duck. And so the bank will be initiating the purchase on the first stage there, so that they're managing it for the investors. They've got a group of 96 investors, and that's the group involved in the humanitarian. Some of those are also interested in our NLA coin. That's, you've heard me speak about $4 billion being held in there, and that's for the NLA purchase. But when it goes there, you'll see some incredible figures that will start to trade. Now, we have seen the duck that the bank are holding to get started with this, and the figure out there, and it's an incredible figure, but I'm going to tell you what it is anyway. It's $450 billion in duck that the bank will start to purchase, because you've only got to use logic. The people putting the Chingaling coins into the exchange are the investors, and they're not putting 450 million coins in there to not sell them. They don't stake in the exchange. So you can appreciate that when they start to trade there, it will really start to lift the lid on, exactly where we're going with the trading and what we can and can't do. So we're rather excited about what's about to happen in there. So I'm with you. I want it to happen yesterday, but it's there, and when the bank can see the clearance, they will give the green light and the coins will start to trade. But as I said, there's $450 billion that will trade in there. Now remember, because we are jointly managing the exchange, the bank look after the back end, or the asset account value, the coins in there, the bringing the market maker in to check it out, and our job is the front end of looking after the front end. Now it's a fine line between the front end and the back end, I guess. So we're trying to get things organized so that doing tutorials on how to manage in the exchange, and being able to, because there's going to be some major press releases that will be coming out that we can use out there as well. And so look, let's just all join together and say a little bit of an extra prayer to help this along. And I'm hoping that it's going to be in the next couple of days that we actually see this going. And that, once again, it's any time that you'll start to see this trade out there. The other thing too is that, okay, I'll just briefly touch on the e-commerce. We are obviously getting very, very close to doing that now. It's just signing off with the bank on that. But when you go into discussions with a bank, you've got Los Angeles, London, Hong Kong, South Africa involved in the talks. And these talks for one meeting can go for 5 and 6 hours, because you've got technical people in there and not everybody's talking together. Sometimes you're just sitting there listening to what's going on. So, and sometimes the talks can go just in one area, covering one thing out there. But the main thing is that Next Level Africa play a major role in all of this. And the bank are totally behind what we're doing with our projects, and they're willing to support us all the way through. And for me to quote what the banks have been saying about Next Level Africa would sound like I've got tickets on myself, and I don't want to do that. But they're right behind us. They can see what we're trying to do out there. And since day one, we've never changed on where we want to be with this. And the bank have stuck by us. And as I said, we've just waiting on them to give the green light, and things will go. Because look, signing the exchange over to us, this part of it out there, remember the brokerage fee on whatever is traded in the exchange is a fee that gets paid to our company, and that fee we will share it back into the community, because it's an incredible figure. On $450 billion, it's somewhere around about $9 billion brokerage fee on that. So we would be more than happy to put that back in to the exchange and whatever else we have to do out there. So once again, the e-commerce it's going to play a major role into this. Now I'm a major partner in the e-commerce platform, so I have a reasonable amount of input into what goes in there, and just like we are trying to get it to the stage where it's an easy platform, and we're hoping to get it all happening. Now, moving on to my final, and this is the conversation that I've had for the last hour with our development manager, and what's happened. There's been a major breakthrough which has been restricted from going to the newspapers just yet because of governments having to stamp things out there to give the okay. And there's two governments fighting over this at the moment about who gets the opportunity to run with it. But there was a major court case in the High Court in Johannesburg, and it involved Dr. Wolfgang Schonfeld. He is a scientist. He is becoming part of our operation. He's actually developed a process where, and this wasn't what the court case was about, where they can detect diabetes with young children and when they'll start being affected by the type 2 diabetes. And they've developed a pill that will actually assist and with less side effects to it to manage diabetes. And just to give you an idea, they do the figures on these things out there, and the figures on that, they're astronomical. And we've got doctors out there and entrepreneurs and people like Dr. Patrick Soon-Sion. And if you do a search on Dr. Patrick Soon-Sion, he's the richest doctor in the world, worth about $12 billion. He's an entrepreneur. And there's people like him that are going to become involved with this. Now, just the diabetes part of it is probably going to be worth $350 billion to drug companies to set up and start marketing the drug worldwide. Now, what's going to be happening out there that we are going to be given an opportunity, and I'm setting this up so that it's an easy entry point into it, and you can build up to it. It's not a network structure. Don't get me wrong. It's not networked, but you can buy a certificate, and I want to make that as a low an entry point as I can, because there's only 30% of the available that will be sold, and this will be sold through our e-commerce platform, and our members will be able to become part of that as well. We're just doing up the plan, we're doing up the PowerPoint presentation so it can be presented in a way that you'll understand, but people will be able to go in. And we're using one of the coins, the pet coin, as the entry point in there, so that, because look, with the exchange, if you ask me whether I'd like to have 4 or 5 or more of the top cryptocurrencies in the world in our exchange, the answer is yes. The more activity we've got going in that exchange with various coins, then the better we are. In all fairness to it, because of the name out there, and I say this with total respect, the name of putting Africa into a name, it can have an opposite effect to how someone feels about it as well. So we are making sure that we've got a lot of things covered. And so the pet coin is, once again, it's only be available through the CEX. There's going to be probably in trading in the pet coin, there's probably going to be trading of millions and millions, tens of millions of the coin in the exchange, because once people realize with this, when you get a certificate, you'll receive a yearly dividend on your certificate, and also we're setting it up so that you can upgrade to a higher level, so the certificate can be so if I said to you at this point that I'm looking to allow our members to come into this at an entry point of something like $15, or it could be 15 coins, and the coins currently are valued at 80 cents a coin, for that entry point in there, and then being able to upgrade to a higher entry point with no out-of-pocket, just a small, we won't refer to it as network marketing or multi-level marketing, because it's not that. There's only ever 7 people involved in your particular group, and as you upgrade and they want to upgrade as well, you could finish up for your entry point in there of $15, receiving some money back on that as well, and upgrading to a higher level certificate, and you could finish up on a dividend of between $200,000 and $300,000 a year. Because once the 30% is taken, there is no more. It's finished. So where your dividend comes from is the percentage from the $350 billion a year turnover that will come from the sale of whatever the item is. And Dr. Wolfgang is a renowned scientist. Look, we'll put his name in the room. I encourage you to he's German, so any interviews out there will be in German, but there's a lot of write-ups about him, and the court case that he just won in South Africa, when they release this, this is going to be something that will be world news, and I'm sure a lot of people will who have never heard of Dr. Wolfgang will when they release this. And he is coming into our e-commerce. He's more than happy to work with us. He's not doing any press releases on what's happened in the court, but he'll do whatever we need to. His photograph, resume, and everything about him will be on our e-commerce site out there. So we are looking at rather good times with that. So I don't really want to answer any questions about listening, about Dr. Wolfgang, etc. I've told you what I can tell you. So if someone asks questions about it in the Q&A and I don't answer them, it's not that I'm disrespecting you, it's just that there are contracts in place at the moment, just ready to be signed off. So I can't jeopardize any of that. And this is protection not only for those people, but our members as well. I don't want to lose this. This deal's gone this far, and so I certainly don't want to lose it. But we are looking at the connection with Dr. Wolfgang at trillions of dollars a year in some of the discovery and the research that he's been involved with. So I'll move on from that, and I'll come to another point that I wanted to bring up. I mentioned this last week about the mail system that we've got, the mail email solution. And I will say this, that the acceptance on it has been incredible, but we're still learning on it as well, just to make sure. And when I mention some of the things here that we intend to do, you'll understand why this is a very important part of what the Smada World group are all about, and just some of the products that we can tap into. And the email is certainly one of those products that you don't have to explain it to anybody. This really started off with the fact that we had the dot system that we advise many members to use rather than setting up various emails, because look, we do have members with hundreds, if not thousands, of accounts in Next Level Africa. So we advised on it, but Google changed that. They changed it to where you can't put any more than one dot between characters now. And look, there are ways you can do it out there, but the problem with doing that is that we don't know whether Google will change their mind tomorrow and do it a different way. I mean, Google are Google, and we can't predict what they might do. So once again, we thought, well, we'll try to confront this and see if we can come up with a solution to help members, be able to get around that. So it's all about the branding. So using our own branded email system allows us to promote the brand. And look, we do have 50,000 accounts in Next Level Africa. When they're all in there, you'll see where they are, and we're going to have a lot more interest in it once people realize where we're at. So this will give us extreme exposure. We will be promoting our brand on many fronts, one of them being the e-commerce platform. The e-commerce platform, just to mention that, is not a Next Level Africa platform. It's there for the e-commerce world. And so therefore, by having this out there, we can also be part of it. Next Level Africa can be part of it, and Smarter World can be part of it by promoting our various products out there, because we don't want it to look like a Next Level Africa site. It's going to be an e-commerce site with many, many, many merchants. Now, the income potential from our brand, is unlimited. NLA already have our own brand covered on a number of frontages, and we have our own crypto coin out there. And once again, I'll make mention of this as well, that you will see another substantial increase coming up in both the NLA and Jingling coins. And you can imagine when the 450 billion I spoke of starts to get circulated between Jingling, NLA and other coins in there, you're probably going to see them head towards double of what you see them there now. So there's going to be exciting times on that. We also have our own crowdfunding platform that we're obviously trying to get in place, and the banks are certainly behind that with our humanitarian. And we have our own exchange. Now, once again, I've received full documentation on how the partnership will go between the banks and ourselves. So we are more than happy on what the bank have offered us out there. It's quite unique. I mean, when we first started this, we were running our coin out there, and when the coin went up, we'd all get excited because, hey, the coin just went up 3 cents. We are now since then talking in the billions and the trillions of dollars on what can happen. So this is all gathered as we've been moving along. So a lot of things have been going on in the background that members aren't privy to knowing about, because the banks keep things close to their chest. Now, with the email, you can have unlimited addresses, and you've got unlimited storage within the email. So the email product, I might mention this, the company that we're dealing with, an Australian company, and they're a global organization. They're a rather large company. They've been in business for nearly 2 decades. And this program is not something that has to be built. It's working right now. It has been for many years. And so we work very closely with them. Their support out there is second to none. So all we're really going to be doing is just tapping into what is already there. They have spam and virus protection, and obviously secure certification. So they're really behind security. And look, some of the free mail systems out there, and I'm not knocking them, things like Google and Hotmail, they don't have the same security system as a professional mail system out there. So having a protected mail system just really helps with any hacking, which is obviously something that'll go on. And I'll tell you now, once the hackers know about the Next Level Africa component, there's going to be attempts to get into anyone that's involved with Next Level Africa, because there could be a payday for them. They have wonderful tech support. I've had to do it, organise the techs over the last week or so, and they just solve it instantly. They've got some really helpful people out there. So there's tech support 24/7. So we certainly are able to look after our members with any issues they might have in the support area. Email management, you can manage your emails through any web browser. Email management, a breeze. You can reset passwords, manage spam, auto folders, because you've got entry in there in a mini cPanel, so you can change quite a number of things in there. So some of the emails we've got members managing for other members out there, but anyone that wants to explore their own email can certainly do that. The distributed denial of service protection defends you against external attacks, and that's what I was talking about just anyone wanting to hack in there. So that's the protection that they have on there, and hopefully that we don't have any problems there with it, but they're onto that all the time. And so you can access your business account from any device using the web-based email application that comes for free with every email hosting plan. You've got the POP, IMAP, and SMTP, so you can connect to any of the other email systems out there. If you want to start using Outlook and things like that, you can connect onto those and have your email system running through those, but that's something that's up to the individuals on how they want to do things, because we can link the email accounts all together, so they're quite easy to manage. Now, what we're looking at people doing, and because we've had a reasonable response for people wanting emails, we've had some people really thinking outside the square, and because of how it can be worded out there, so you can request your personal email, and you need to have chosen 3 usernames to submit. Username 1 is your preferred, username 2 is your next choice in case username 1 isn't available, and 3 is a choice in case 1 and 2 are not available. I put an example there is because we've been getting people coming through with all sorts of different emails. It's quite good to see the imagination our members do have. But when you look at something like that, life-changing for me at Next Level Africa, these are some of the things. That's just an example out there. And I will say this, that, okay, for what it's worth, I'm just putting this out there, that particular email address is not taken. If anybody wanted it, they can apply for it, and the first one in would get it, because remember, there's once an email address goes, then it's not available to anyone else. I'm not suggesting that someone wants that, but I'm just saying it's there, and just to give you an idea on some of the, because look, I like to put a bit of fun into what we're doing as well. So having email names that might be a business orientated, that might be a bit of humorous orientated, and we certainly have that going, a good mixture going on now with them as well. So that's just to give you an idea. So the price for your personalized email address is $20 USD, payable by PayPal or BankWire or Bitcoin. This is a yearly subscription on that, but I'll go into some details about what we plan to do, but that's how we started this off. So that one is a yearly subscription on having your own personal email. Now, how the cost is determined for your emails account in Next Level Africa. You might have 10, 20, 100, 1,000 and beyond. The price of your NLA account email is still $20, but it's payable with the NLA coins at the market maker's value. So $20 divided into your 542 USD works out at 0.03 NLA coin of a coin. So to determine the cost of your total accounts, you have 10 accounts, you would multiply that by 10 to come up with what it would cost in the terms of coin and so on. So you can see there where you can, and incidentally, this is payments for account is a once only payment upon setup. So this is not something that we're looking for an annual fee on this, because look, I've set up a team that is going to be managing the emails, and to be quite honest with you, it's probably a cost of $50,000 a year to maintain that. So it's with the personalized emails, that's where we're looking to try and cover that part of it. Now, just to go into, these are points of interest, and these are things that we've come up with since we've started looking at the email and what we can do. We are looking to introduce an MLM email program. As I said, the product ticks all the boxes with me because, look, I look at longevity on a product. I look at, would you buy it if it wasn't network marketed? I look at the type of product. I mean, I go for digital products because they can be instantly delivered anywhere in the world. And if you have quite a number of them, you don't need a bigger cupboard to store them in. When you look at something like a digital product, like an email, you can store 1 million as easy as you can store one. You don't need to build an extra room to store these products in. Now, this will be a standalone program where the product will be email hosting. This will be an easier program for members to introduce the Smarter World product range, because we are looking to do quite a few, and this will be just one of them. Just showing you a simple sign up and a team build, because I want to do a team build on it. We've built so far where we are now by using team build, so I want to use the team build side of it. And this will be a one link where the matrix will fill from left to right. So once again, working as a team build on this, we will be able to, and incidentally, we will use the NLA coin in there as well. So therefore, it just gives a reason for people to want to purchase the NLA coin. And so we're looking at a number of levels of product purchase. So in other words, you might have 1 email, 2 emails, 5 emails, and this will be a package level, so that obviously the more emails that you would have in this system, then the higher the value you would pay, and of course the higher commission that gets paid to the various levels. And so this will ensure maximum income for members. Now, the various way that we can do placements into the matrix is by the timestamp in the application for the NLA branded email. So this is not the emails that you would want for your username in Next Level Africa. This is the personalized emails that you would be applying for. And just to use an example, we are looking to eventually, when we run this program, to be a cryptocurrency payment program. And this will allow our members to amass NLA coins, which is what we want to do. So you can secure your position now with our email, but remember, if you have a number of emails, you can have the same number of positions in the matrix. So in other words, if you decide that you want more than 1 position in the matrix, you can apply for a number of email accounts, and already that we've had people wanting to, they've approached us and wanting to do it, and it's happening now. So anybody wanting to secure more positions in the matrix, because once we start loading it up, it'll be loaded in timestamp, and we already feel that this is going to be a program that will be as big or bigger than Next Level Africa, because we are in control. We've really got more control on this, because this is totally being managed by us here in Australia. We don't require the bank. We don't require outside programmers to build what we want to build, and there will not be the same delays that we have had since we've been building Next Level Africa. I won't allow that to happen. So I'll be appointing some programmers that will be able to do the job and do it as well. We are sparing no dollars in order to get this to be a well put together program, and so a program that we'll all be extremely proud of. So once again, look, it may not be for everybody. We're just pointing out there, this is another product that we feel that our members will benefit from. And so we'll be looking to launch this once we get the exchanges sorted out. We'll then start looking at this, and probably once we launch it, I should imagine it'll be launched with well over 1,000 to get started with it. So I'll be talking more about this as we go, but right now we're just getting people in place that want to be part of it. So how you contact us on this presentation will be added to the Skype rooms, and we'll include the link to the Google Doc to submit with your email choices. And that's the Google Doc there on it. We have set up a separate support on this, Email Plus, at smada.world. So it's just, we need to separate the support from our general support through NLA, just so that we're dealing with one item at a time there. So hopefully that makes sense. When you go back over the webinar, go back over the presentation, you may have some questions. You can certainly send them into support. We'll look after it from there. But once again, it's going to be a program that we believe is going to certainly match anything that we've got planned for things like our e-commerce and our Next Level Africa. So, all right, with that, I'm going to hand it back to Angelina, but I do want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the webinar, and I'll manage any questions I have. So as I said, if there's any questions about the Dr. Wolfgang and things like that out there, I'm really not going to answer them, because I want to do a webinar where I can openly just talk about that, because this is so involved, it needs its own time. So, all right, I'll hand it back to Angelina. Thank you very much.
Everyone, to wait for the recording of the webinar before you try and sort it all out by asking us 1,000 questions in the room. You might have to listen to the webinar a few times to grasp it. The new email idea that Noel has presented to us. So we do have some questions coming in, and also I'd like to just point out too that with the Email Plus support email, that's where you're going to be getting your email, your personalized emails from. But please don't inundate us with a ton of questions about the program or anything like that. That should go in the Skype rooms, okay? The Email Plus support email is really for people that have already filled out the form, because that's where you're going to get your response from, that email. But most questions should be able to be answered in the Skype room, unless you've already got an email. Okay, hope that makes all sense. So now, we do have some questions. You can go ahead and start typing questions in. And Noel, actually, I'm going to let you go right off the bat with the very first question from Andrew, Rimmer Support. I'll hand the mic back to you. Noel, thanks.
he's asked, how will the crowdfunding integrate with the merchants of the e-commerce and the coin exchange, bring cross-pollination of money to projects? Just the e-commerce is a standalone out there, so but in saying that, we'll have access to a lot of the merchants out there, so they'll be introduced to our program, but it's not about the Next Level Africa and the e-commerce being the same program. They're totally different. So as we go with it, we'll start looking at doing things from there. So Alan's asked, will the CEX have tax statements that us members can print out? At the moment, I can't find anywhere that shows my NLA purchases with Bitcoin. Well, they are in there. You've got access to what you've purchased if you look down the bottom. So you've got all of that in there. But we are looking to have it set up a bit easier so you can print out these statements. But all of your transactions on what you've purchased, if you scroll down from your where you've traded in Bitcoin, you will see a lot of the all of your transactions will be there, so you can print that out, copy and print it. Yoda, no, will the NLA coin be on public blockchain Explorer for all other cryptocurrency traders to see? That's not necessarily us. It's the other exchanges or other blockchains that want to put it on there, and I believe they will. They will put it on there. I mean, we've got our own internal, and like everyone has, and so they just display it. But once people see what's happening with particularly Jingling and NLA, they certainly will start appearing on the public blockchains. Dan, will the banks likely buy all Jingling coins currently available in one go, given that they have ample funds for that? Well, the answer to that is yes. Once they start, you'll find that the coins will be just cleaned up on there. I mean, look, they've put minimum figures, but I personally wouldn't be looking at that, and I personally wouldn't be selling all my coins on the first run through, because the coins will, I mean, look, it's like this. The biggest players out there are Jingling guys. I mean, they're going to be, trading in quite a few coins and then trading in other coins in there if they see coins, going up, because people will look at a portfolio on the crypto. So you'll find that that once it starts in there, it'll just continue. And I wouldn't be surprised if within the next, look, I always seem to throw myself out there putting a time on things, but certainly in the next 30 days, both the NLA coin and Jingling, I can imagine, will double in their price. So once again, don't sell all your coins at once. Yes, James, you're right. The pot just keeps getting bigger. And look, I've probably watered down more so than tried to sound like I'm just on a a diarrhea with the sort of figures that have been quoted to us, and it just seems to get bigger because the bank, you can imagine this, the bank are attracting a lot of attention, and it's because of our connection with the banks that the like of Dr. Wolfgang have openly thought, well, I feel comfortable in there because of our connection with the banks. So the banks are really going to be dragging a lot of interest in what we're doing, and they want to get right behind our projects. So there's going to be just a lot of interest all the way through. Chuck, what bank are we as members in LA are we going to be using? Also, when are we going to be able to sign up with the new bank? I'm not 100% sure of what you mean on that, Chuck, but we're not signing up with a new bank. What I mentioned before, that there is an involvement by another bank doing KYC, but we're not signing up with a bank. Okay. Anika, will there be a consideration for a CEX monthly statement? Yeah, okay. We are looking to do a lot of that, so getting things in place so that people can download their statements for their accountancy purposes. So we are looking to have that done. But anyone that wants to go to their own back office, you'll find down underneath wherever you've traded in coins, you've got a full listing there of all your trades that you've been able to do. So we just want to try and get that to, can be something that's printed, but you can do a screenshot, copy and paste it. So so have a look down there to see what you can do with that. Jan, will the bank investors be using Bitcoin to buy coins at all, or primarily duck? No, it'll be duck. There's $450 billion that the bank are holding now in duck, and they'll be using that. They're not going off to buy Bitcoin. So that's where the activity will be in there. So we're hoping to have that all sorted out there. Neil, we have had multiple thousands of visitors to our website of global flying hospitals, and we usually feature alliance partners and sponsors by showing their brand and links to their sites. I'd like to be in the future NLA, if permissible, on this site, so we have a JPEG image of the NLA logo brand that we can use. Yeah, look, Neil, we can do that. We can certainly look after that, and I've got to give you special attention out there, or you'll give me a bad name, because we both went to the same school. So I've got to make sure I look after old school chums out there. But anyway, we can certainly do that for you, Neil, and get what we need to get out there. Luke, is Jingling still being traded outside the exchange while they are preparing to trade inside the exchange? No, that's all finished now. All trading with Jingling will happen inside the exchange. Will the new KYC, Bernard's asked, will new KYC provide a limit to or slow the withdrawal process? Plus, will we have to redo our KYC? No, you won't have to redo it. Anyone that's got KYC in there, that'll all be okay. It's just that what was happening with it's Lexus that were doing the KYC. They've been a bit slow, so the bank has decided to give them the boot and appoint someone else out there. So anyone that hasn't had KYC approved, it's all in the process now of being done. So, okay, look, I think I've covered most of that stuff there now as well. So I'm going to thank everybody for turning up. And Chuck, how will we be withdrawing our ducks from CX? You just apply for withdrawal and just withdraw them to your nominated bank. You would have had to put a bank in there, so that's all. That hasn't changed. It's all the same out there. All right. I'll hand this back to Angelina. And once again, thanks everybody. And we'll probably be calling some webinars to do with specific things to do with, as I said, Dr. Wolfgang. I do advise to look up Dr. Wolfgang and see what he's all about. And, you know, you'll realize that we have got some exceptionally good company that we're dealing with at the moment. And everyone in the NLA world is going to benefit from this. All right. Okay, I'll hand this back to Angelina. Thanks very much, everybody.
Note, give it 24 to 48 hours. The link to the email promotion will be reposted in the room, and we look forward to coming back to you with more new news very soon. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day wherever you are. Bye for now.